Thank you. So this is a very, very huge announcement. Never give up. Okay, let's try. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope also you had a nice lunch break and also met a lot of new people here. At least I am always meeting nice and great people here during that conference. So this is why I'm happy to return here. Last year I've spoken here about what we've done with Open Talk and digital sovereignty, and a lot of stuff happened in the last year. We found a new company and a new project, and I want to tell you the story behind the scenes, what happened, at least as far as I am able to tell what happened in reality. So there's always sometimes a story between the lines. But let me introduce myself. I'm expert, we are expert for free and secure communications. Maybe you know us, we are the Heinlein group coming here from Berlin, located here in Berlin. We are the owner and the founder of mailbox.org and also of OpenTalk, the video conference system. And we are a team of around about 120 employees who are fascinated by the possibility of digital sovereignty, of data protection, and for sure, secure and safe communications. We're doing this for decades. I've never done anything else than open source, and this also brings me here to stage, because last year what we have done is the master story behind open source. Yes, so when I asked a popular artificial intelligence engine about creating me a picture about freedom, this was the output, and I must say this totally matches my opinion or my view to freedom, to do whatever you want, to stay wherever you want, to travel with people you're just meeting at the conference or at the beach, to decide what to do and to cook what you do. Just the van life is for me a real great picture for freedom. This is freedom about what you want to do, you can do, and what you not want to do, like going for work, I don't know. You don't have to do it. This is freedom for me. And open source software and the idea of open source is a question of freedom. We all know. It's the freedom to adapt code to my needs, to take a project and to adopt it and to create something that matches my benefits and my needs. And also the freedom to review the code and to see what's going on, what was in the code and what is in the code, what is running on my systems, and to what I believe I can give my data to. And also to share what I create with open source. I can, as a business company running open source or as an open source coder, I can share the code I have written with other people, give it to other projects, share with other people, and for sure also the governance, public money, public code, they can pay adaptations of open source projects, and they can give it for free to other parts of the governance or to other countries. It's open source, public money, public code. And also to benefit from the whole community, that we can create something much more than it's just a single project or just a single project run by one country. It can be shared between all of us to have a bigger goal in mind. Yeah, but it's also the freedom to not do something, to not be part of a proprietary license game like we've seen in the last months and years, like Atlassian and VMware, where they raised the prices, where they cut off the on-prem installations, to be not part of that game, to choose another service provider. I can choose whatever company I want to work with. If I don't like the company A, I can just go to company B. Maybe they're not perfectly inside the code I'm using inside the project, but they can learn it, they can be trained, and I can change my vendor or also my service company if I want to, which is also part of freedom. And if I have a running open source project in my data center, I can continue. Nobody can say you have to stop it. In a proprietary world, the company can say, okay, we will discontinue this project. You have to leave, you have to switch, you have to migrate, which maybe costs a lot of money. And in an open source world, I can say, okay, you stop the support for the project, okay, I will look for another service company and they will provide ongoing support for that project. You can leave, I will help myself. This is also the freedom of open source. We have seen this in the past, where a company learned that they're in a part of vendor lock-in and they not have the freedom to continue their projects anymore. And what we have seen in the last year, in the last 18 months, is, for example, the story of OwnCloud, which is a very popular file-sharing solution. It was founded around about 15 years ago based as a PHP system in the last years. It's the father of Nextcloud, where Nextcloud was once forked off. And OwnCloud made great stuff. They made a rewrite of the whole code in the last 3 years. So now it's totally rewritten in Go. It's totally cloud native. It's totally state of the art from this decade and not from the last century. And they created a totally high scalable, secure coded reversion of OwnCloud in the last 3 years. So this is a great, great, great piece of software, which I believe is very important for our IT strategy of digitalization and sovereignty. And yeah, it's public, available, it's AGPL and Apache license. Everybody can use it, everybody can fork it, everybody can adopt it, and everybody can use it. I think that the file sharing solution like OwnCloud is system relevant. Maybe this is a bit a German word, sorry for that, but it means that the system, the community, the strategy can't live without it. So, because 15 years ago, I told people emails are system relevant. Where the emails are, then the whole solution, the customer will stay. It's an ISP on the local German site, or it's a Teams, or it's Google. If you have the email account there, then you will use all the other services from this vendor, also because email is the most important reason why you're stuck on that system. I think this has changed. In the last few years, I think files have become the most important reason why to stay with a company or with a service vendor. Because if you have uploaded all your files in a file share coming from that company or solution, then you will use also calendar, contacts, groupware, video conference systems, and all that stuff from this service vendor. So this is really, really important for us, also for the open source community, because we have seen that a lot of companies have moved to O365 and Teams in the last few years. And once they're moved in, you know, they will not easily or maybe never be able to move out and to go back, because the whole file structure and all the stuff is there at the service vendor and the vendor login. So in my point of view, if we want to win the game, if we want to make open source, great again, then we have to provide a solution that is really great in file sharing and file storage and the file lifecycle management, because companies don't want to lose all the informations and all the data they've created in their files to their employees. So I think that the existence of a real great file sharing solution is very much important for the whole open source stack, also for open cloud and all the projects we are doing here in Germany or Europe. What happened some months ago, that Kiteworks, a European daughter of the US investor, the US company Kiteworks, they acquired OwnCloud. It was sold to them, US company father, US independent company. And they also bought some more file sharing solutions like Dracoon, which is a proprietary German system. And for us, this has been a huge impact, because we had a lot of discussions in the scene. What will happen to OwnCloud? Will they be usable in the future anymore? Now this is US-dependent company. Will they stop the support for OwnCloud and move everything to Kiteworks, which is a SaaS service from the cloud? Will they run the ongoing German projects? Will they support it? We had a lot of phone calls in the last year or 18 months, where also other open source companies called me and said, Pierre, what's going on? What should we do? Because it's system relevant. If you're losing a great solution like that, and people will start moving to O365, sorry, then we will lose the game, and we will lose a huge part of business and governmental customers to the Microsoft cloud. We also saw that a lot of people asked for coming to our company, asked for new jobs because they don't want to work for a US company anymore. And we had a lot of huge and a lot of deep discussion with them, because I wanted to make them staying in the old OwnCloud company. I want to make them that they are still coding on their OwnCloud system, because they say OwnCloud is the new version of OwnCloud OSIS is so system relevant, it's so important. Please stay there, we need you, we need the code, we need the solution. OwnCloud OSIS must not die, we cannot watch OSIS dying. But at one time, we did not only have the fear that they will leave the company, they told me, okay, we will cancel the contract. We will leave. We will not support Oatsys anymore in that company. We will quit there. So what does it mean to us? We have a solution that is very, very important for the open source software stack. It's totally open source software. So as I said, you can do whatever you want with that code. It's AGPL. It's on GitHub. It's public available. So everybody has the opportunity to view the code, change it, develop it further, or adopt it to your own needs. Or maybe not everybody has only the chance of doing it. Maybe we also have to do it. Maybe we simply have to do it. We have to fork it. So this reminds me to the book of Matthias Kirschner, who's also somewhere here at the conference. I don't know if you know it. It's a very popular book for children, but also for adults, about the possibility and also about the chances of adopting code and stuff to yourself. If you don't know that book, please go for it and have a look to it. It's really, really nice. And I already gave it sometimes to political decision makers to read about open source to understand what we are doing. So this it reminds me to that story where the small Ada was not willing to see that their products would have been gone because of Zangemann, the big guy there, stopped the support for it. So little Ada decided, okay, then I will have to do it by myself. And this is why we at Heinlein said, okay, a community has to do what a community has to do, because for decades we have told the business decision makers, the governmental, everybody, open source is great because open source is sustainable. Nobody can steal your open source project. You can always continue your open source projects. This was the story behind of open source for the last 10, 20, 30 years. And also me, I was telling that story so many times to different people. This is the power of open source. Nobody can steal it. And then we've been in our office and said, okay, nobody, what if this software should die? Would die, sorry. Okay, now we have to prove that this story is not just a story, it's reality. So for me, the story behind the ownCloud is the proof of what we have told for decades. So let's fork, because this is open source. If you want to change it, you can fork it. So we founded a new company called OpenCloud. We started in January this year, and a team of around about 20 employees who are long-term experience in file sharing and collaboration suites started at OpenCloud. A lot of them have been working in this area for 20 years. So a really, really great team that was known to each other, and they have been really familiar with the code of OwnCloud and Oatsys, including product management, sales team, and all that stuff. So ready to run company from scratch. We forked the code at GitHub, which took around about 4 to 5 weeks. It's quite interesting what you have to do and how to fork it. Do you have to delete all the old names? Do you have to keep it for copyright reasons? Very difficult. But we did a fork and released it in February. And also in March, we will release the first long-term commercial support of OpenCloud. Because I don't want that Oatsys, this great software, which I believe to, will die. So we had to do this. This is the story of OpenCloud or OwnCloud Oatsys and how it survived. We had some great partnerships there. We will integrate new teams and new software stack like OpenTalk and also groupware solutions. And now we have an ongoing file sharing solution, state-of-the-art, modern, secure, and still maintained from a German-based headquarter, and which is not related to PHP stuff, old-style code from the last decade anymore. So in the general situation, the customers of Dracoon, a proprietary file sharing solution, they are now still maybe customers of Dracoon, which is a proprietary solution with a kind of vendor login. I don't know. But for those who trusted in open source software, to the competition of Dracoon, to OwnClouds, they now have the choice in staying with Kiteworks and staying with the OwnCloud team, or staying or going with OpenCloud and going with the new OpenCloud team. So now they have the decision, and we can see it's not a vendor login. It's a freedom of choice to who I trust and what I want to do. So this is the story, the proof of open source. It's working. It's ongoing. It's working. This is what we told the people for all the time. So what will the future of open cloud here? For sure, file management, but also nice, interesting stuff, which is maybe very interesting for stuff also like Open Desk for the governmental open source sovereign desktops and all that stuff. We have person-independent spaces, really interesting because the file maybe does not belong to a person, it belongs to the company, and persons can change. We will create a federation, so you can have a federation between instances and with proven identities in the background. We will integrate, for sure, groupware solutions in the future, and look for, and we have partnerships with public offerings for SaaS services, but you can also run it on-prem. It's very simple. It's a one-file binary or Kubernetes container. Just download it and use it. And for sure, be part of the community and add your own thoughts and help to create an ongoing success story here. And for sure, we have migration paths, so you can leave the old stuff, because there are a lot of people there that have to leave the old file sharing solutions because PHP is outdated and they need a solution, and they don't want to switch them to O365. I personally don't believe in that solution. So this is why we did it. So yeah, I was really quick. I expected to be much slower because it's English than German. It's not my native language, but as far as I see, I'm a little bit up the time. Sorry for that. Normally I'm behind the time, but this gives up time. No, I'm too fast. Gives up some time for questions to the audience, and as far as I'm able to answer them, because not everything is disclosable for public. Feel free to ask. Thank you.
First off, thank you so much, Fear, for your talk. And do we have any questions? Just a reminder that you can also submit your questions online through the chat. Is the key feature really the file sharing or the integrated and multi-user collaborative applications, such as documents, sheets, etc.? How will Open Cloud address this?
Well, first of all, it's an open source project. Yes, it is a commercial project. My company is a commercial company, but we had the money to found it and to make it happen. Otherwise, this solution will not work. But for sure, it's an open project, and everybody's invited to collaborate and to integrate. So we have a partnership with Collabora, which is a famous open source groupware solution. Also, you can use OnlyOffice, which is maybe a little bit Russia dependent right at the moment. So you have a web office groupware like on other solutions, but it's already running. You can use it. So it's a state-of-the-art web-based desktop system. And for sure, we will add groupware solutions in the next year.
So the second question is, when it comes to apps and services and data, is there any plan for collaboration with Nextcloud so that the whole ecosystem can benefit, if not full federation?
It's quite difficult because it's absolutely different from Nextcloud, and it's not the same kind of software. There is OwnCloud is API, or OwnCloud was API based, so you can integrate it, but it's a cloud native Go code, and it's not a PHP LAMP code. So it's hard to integrate all that stuff, and it's a different way of thinking on how software can continue. OpenCloud is more for a platform, more for a million-user setup, because I think we need it for the governmental IT strategy over the top, and then we can have service vendors and service providers who can sell it to smaller companies or mid-range companies or private persons, but it has to fit the needs of a platform and for a big-scale setup. So it will be difficult to integrate a Nextcloud and an OpenCloud system in the same environment. And yeah, I don't know if Nextcloud is interested in that. I don't think so. I don't know.
Any comment, any addition? Well, then that's all.
Yeah, but then tell me one more details. The US investor Kiteworks was not that happy that we did the fork. He blamed me and having catched all those people, which is simply not true, because they made them quitting the company and they asked us to be taken over by our company, and we rejected that at the first. So as you can imagine, forking a company or forking a project like this, it's not the company, a project like this, could lead to real difficult legal issues in the background. Yeah, there are some troubles ongoing. You can read it in the media. But for sure, I think it's very easy. It's open source software. It's an open code. It's an AGPL stuff, and you can fork it. And if you want, you can fork OpenCloud right now. So do it. As you can read at Heise, at Golem, and the news, they blame us that the code was proprietary because it is one project and we did everything, and they have stolen internal details from our company, from Kiteworks. This is what the Kiteworks CEO, Jonathan, blamed me. No, not true. We did the fork at GitHub. That's all what we did. It's all public available. It's all legal, no problem. But for sure, if you do a fork like this, you have been aware that you will get a lot of troubles and a lot of unwanted emails and stuff you have to handle in the background. But I think we did it, and everything is fine right now. So thank you for your support. In this case, we would love if you spread the word and share your ideas and your opinions to that. Thank you. And to help us to show this proof of open source software, which is really very important to my heart, that it's not just a commercial product. For me, it's really maybe not the end, but a very important milestone of my whole open source life, that we really can show that it's working.
Yes, hi, thanks for your talk. How did you know which steps to take when forking this project, not to have, or at least to minimize the amount of legal issues you could have? Because this is somewhere where I would screw up, probably. I forgot to change a name or something.
Yeah.
So, any guidelines or?
Yeah, or ask a good legal advice, like a lawyer. Especially in Germany, we have Till Jäger, which is a very famous GPL lawyer, also located here in Berlin. He was the legal advice for Harald Welte doing the GPL violations.org stuff 10 years ago. So he is our legal advice on what to do and how to fork. Because on the one hand, we do not want to say that it's not based on their own cloud, OTSIS code. On the other hand, we will not be blamed in misusing their brand name. So it's very difficult in how to tell the story and how to tell the story not. And to say it's a fork of that or it's not a fork of that, however you do it, it's the wrong way. But yeah, you have to decide.
Thanks.
It's more of a thing that came to mind when you were talking about the bad reaction that you can sometimes get from forking a project. And just, I wanted to offer a counterexample. Some people in the room might be familiar with PixelFed, which is an open source version of Instagram, kind of, right? And when it was forked, I remember that that the author of the software came online. I think people in the community were saying this is a bad thing, but the author of the software, Dan, came online and said, "I support this fork. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know." I just thought it was such a good example of the community, of the way that the community should be reacting to those kinds of forks rather than this kind of negativity. But again, it was a different situation because it wasn't a commercial software as this, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the statement. Yeah, so that's it for the moment,
Any last
maybe?
question? Then thank you again, Pierre, for your
listening.
talk.
Thank you for your support. See you again.